The Axios NPM hack and the Claude Code leak landed on the same day. That's not just bad timing, it's a warning. If your engineering team runs Node.js in production, uses NPM, or relies on AI coding tools, this is worth looking at closely. Because the real issue isn't only what happened. It's whether your team had the people, process, and security depth to catch it before it became your incident.
A software supply chain attack works because developers trust shared components. Your team installs a package. The package pulls dependencies. The build runs. Everything looks normal. But if an attacker compromises a trusted package, the malicious code can move through your pipeline without anyone doing anything unusual. That's what makes these attacks dangerous. They don't rely on one engineer making an obvious mistake. They rely on the trust your systems already have.
In the Axios case, the attacker took over a maintainer account and published poisoned versions of the package. Axios has a massive footprint in the JavaScript ecosystem.
So when compromised versions were tagged and available through NPM, any developer or CI/CD pipeline that installed during that window could have pulled in the bad release. The malicious code introduced a package that ran a postinstall script. That script downloaded and executed a remote access Trojan across Windows, macOS, and Linux.
That matters because developer machines and build servers often hold the keys to the kingdom. SSH keys, cloud credentials, API tokens, database access, deployment secrets.
Once those are exposed, you're not dealing with a simple package issue anymore. You're dealing with credential compromise. Then, on the same day, the Claude Code package had a separate issue. A source map file was accidentally published to NPM. That file exposed a large amount of Claude Code source code. Anthropic described it as human error, not a breach. But for engineering leaders, the bigger point is this. AI coding tools are now deeply embedded in developer workflows. They may run locally. They may access code bases. They may create logs. They may interact with the development environment in ways most teams haven't fully reviewed. So the question isn't just, was this tool breached? The question is, do we actually understand what this tool can see and do inside our environment?
The first move is practical. Check your lock files. Look for the compromised Axios versions and the malicious dependency named in the incident.
Review CI/CD logs for any install activity during the attack window. If a compromised version ran, don't assume you can clean the machine. Rebuild from a known clean image. Then rotate credentials, not just one token, everything the affected system could have touched. That includes NPM tokens, cloud keys, and SSH keys. Database credentials, GitHub tokens, deployment secrets. This is where incident response maturity shows up fast. Longer term, there are fixes that actually work. Pin exact versions. Commit lock files, use NPM CI instead of NPM install in pipelines.
Disable post-install scripts where you can. Add a cooldown policy so newly published packages don't move straight into production builds.
These aren't flashy controls, but they close the exact kind of gap this attack used, and someone on the team needs to own them. That's the staffing issue behind the technical issue. A DevSecOps engineer would have looked at pipeline behavior before the incident. An AppSec specialist would have been focused on dependency auditing and software composition risk. An incident response professional would have known how to contain, rebuild, and rotate fast. And now companies also need people who understand AI tooling security, because Claude Code, Copilot, and similar tools aren't side experiments anymore. They're part of how modern engineering teams work. Should you stop using NPM entirely? No, but you should stop trusting it blindly. Is Claude Code unsafe now? Not necessarily, but it does deserve a real vendor security review. Do you need to hire a security person because of this? Depends. If someone already owns supply chain security, dependency controls, and CI/CD hardening, you may be covered. But if March 31st caught your team flat-footed, that's a gap. And gaps like that don't get cheaper with time.
Here's the takeaway. The Axios NPM hack and Claude Code leak weren't isolated technical stories. They were a stress test for your pipeline, for your dependency practices, for your AI tooling governance, and for your security staffing.
At KORE1, we help companies hire DevSecOps engineers, AppSec specialists, cloud security talent, incident response professionals, and engineering leaders who understand where security and software delivery meet. If this incident exposed a gap on your team, reach out, because the next supply chain attack won't wait for your hiring process to catch up.